I know you're thinking it's like his beard looks so nappy, but it's so soft. What is you using, sir? Zaharoff grooming oil helps tame your beard and make it so soft. Intro. Welcome back after that little small intro and advertisement. You know, gotta get up the advertisement dollars on here. No, but this video is not sponsored. Truthfully, I did buy one of the bottles, which was Royale, and I was sent signature as well. Um, but let's get into it. I mean, just the way how it comes, the box presentation, beautiful. It actually came with the note card too, but I didn't go with the note card when I was testing them out, and I'm not gonna go with the note card now. And the way how the boxes are, Zaharoff Signature Royale and Zaharoff Signature Noir. Pretty much, I'm just gonna give you my assessment and review of wearing both of these fragrances and which one, if not both, I like or I prefer. Quick bottle presentation. Signature Royale has the beautiful brushed gold cap with the gold juice, gold accents, and then with the Noir, I'm not sure if this is silver or pewter, but it's beautiful as well. Also with, you know, a dark purple juice as well. So we're going to talk about Royale first, or Goku. If you look at distribution's beautiful. Up top, you get the apple. You get a very, very fresh citrus note, along with some sort of spiced pepper, maybe pink pepper, but you definitely get a little spiciness with the freshness as well. Once again, I'm not looking at any type of notes. I'm just going to give you the notes my nose can naturally bring out. Also, with this review is going to be a little bit different from my reviews. I'm going to give you what happened during my times of wearing it. These times are approximate, or they're an average time, for the fact I got both bottles on the 23rd, which is Friday. I wore this Saturday, the 24th, Monday, the 26th, and Wednesday. Well, I wore it alone Saturday and Monday, and I wore it together with Noir on the 26th. So I wanted to get a few days of wearing nothing else but both of these products to try to give you my accurate assessment of what I got on it. So generally, on all 3 days, I apply my fragrances at 9 o'clock right before I start work to see how long I can go without, you know, refreshing or respraying. So that, I'm telling you, and it's like I sprayed it, but once it dropped on my hand, you can actually get it as well. But the first 1.5, going up to 2.5 hours, you're going to get your strongest projection, which is, you know, is definitely above moderate. It's not going to fill a room, but from what I gathered and from me spraying the room and then leaving out and coming back in, it's going to stick around and it's going to definitely be noticeable. So around the 9 o'clock hour mark is where I sprayed them every day. The open and blast lasted, well, the apple went away after maybe 10 minutes, but the fresh citrus with the spiciness lasted quite a while, like almost 2 hours before I could start picking up. In the third hour, which was around noon, is where I started picking up the iris, which was, you know, kind of like a slight Dior Homme iris vibe that I got with it. I know iris isn't listed in the Royale, but that's what I picked up. And by me saying Dior Homme, it does not smell like Dior Homme at all. But the iris note in that and the iris note in here is what kind of made me resemble, like, oh, is this iris I'm picking up on my skin? At that point in time, it was still, you know, soft, peppery, spicy vibe with it. It smelled like maybe a little bit, you know, lavender. But it was funny because at that 12-hour mark, this is where it goes totally left of what the original Zaharoff did. I believe it's the oud in it with the suede accord came off slightly, just a tiny bit animalic on my skin, which I love for the fact the original Zaharoff don't do that to me. That is just a straight gentleman fragrance throughout. I mean, but this one gave me like, especially when I started putting my nose in it and just testing it out, like the suede, the oud. Not sure if this has any incense or frankincense in it, but all of that gave it a slight dirty animalic touch. Now I shouldn't say dirty, but an animalic leather. Ooh, I mean, it just veered so far away from the original one where it's like none of these are redundant. Getting it from the Zahar from the original signature, none of these are redundant. So if that's something that you're worried about, you don't have to worry about that. 4 o'clock, I mean, well, the 4 hour mark, which was 1 o'clock, is where the patchouli really came in more. It's not a, earthy or soily, wet soil type of patchouli. It's pretty dry. But if you have a lot of patchouli fragrances, you're pretty much probably, if your nose is trained for that, you're going to pick the patchouli out. I mean, I've been, having a field day with the Beyond Patchouli from Gallagher. So just doing that and smelling this and waiting for the dry down, like, I know that note. Where's that note compared to? And it was actually patchouli popping up. So at the 6 hour mark, I mean, scent is still going on strong. I mean, it wasn't a skin scent as of yet. I mean, I still had a mild scent trail, a little 2 or 3 inch bubble going around me. I mean, it wasn't quite arm's length at the 6 hour mark. I mean, but I didn't have to dig my nose into my skin. That's where, once again, more of the suede and the oud came out. And I mean, now it's really like, it's still gentlemanly, it's still smooth, but under all of that is that touch of animalic leather just due to the oud and the suede accord mixing. So I'm still happy. I still haven't refreshed at that point in time. And I didn't actually refresh the first 2 days wearing it at all. Just trying to test the longevity, performance, projection. At the 9 hour mark of my dad, granted, I put it on at 9 a.m. At 6:49, I timed it all out. It was still noticeable. It was woody, slightly, once again, the animalic suede with the oud note in there. And once again, I don't know where this iris feeling or resemblance or note came up, but it was just a pleasure to wear and test out. And then once again, I usually just wear a fragrance and just going about my day. But since I wanted to do this review, I was really like testing it hour by hour, just seeing, the definite changes. And this definitely has 3 different transitions, maybe more to a more trained nose. But with me, you got the fresh citrus and peppery at the beginning, then mid to, early dry down to mid dry down is where you still had some of the pepper spices, the lavender, but then once again, I got an iris sensation or vibe out of it that lasted, through the early dry down to the late dry down. And then it went to it was still fresh, but once again, it was a tad bit of animalic on my skin with the oud. Not sure if it's frankincense or myrrh with this, but that suede accord with the oud just had it a little animalic on my skin, which when I really dug in there, it was like, yo, I like this. I dig this. I mean, I feel like if you're into, once again, it's nothing too challenging, but it is complex, if that makes sense to you, to where, once again, it's far from a linear fragrance. Far from a linear fragrance. I mean, fresh, spicy, gentlemanly, suede, leather, ooh. I mean, you're going to get all transitions if you're paying attention to it. I mean, I know I said I would never give a fragrance 10 out of 10. Hell, I only gave the original Zaharoff signature a 9.25, but this is absolutely, in my book, 9 out of 10. And I mean, you still have the Zaharoff DNA in this one, but it goes totally to the left. I mean, after, that fresh, and it's fresher. Like, I mean, if the freshness was in this one like it was in well, if the freshness from here was in signature would be a 10 out of 10 in my eyes. This right here, straight 9 out of 10. I love, for the fact that they kept the DNA, but it totally went to the left. With Signature Royale, it's definitely table of contents approved, and it's a 9 out of 10 fragrance in my book. Now we're going to go to Signature Noir. And just as a reminder, atomizer, good on this one as well. This one is fresh. Like, this is fresh at the beginning opening, but it's not as fresh as this. It's just something about, I think the apple and citrus notes is a tad bit brighter in the Royale than it is the Signature Noir. Signature Noir is fresh, but not as fresh as the Royale. Now with this one, I wore Sunday and Tuesday by itself, and then I wore it Wednesday on the other arm, just as another testing before I drop this review right here. Now I'll put this one on at 9 o'clock on all days as well. That freshness is going to, last pretty much for the first 2.5 hours. Then you're going to really pick up the basil, the pink pepper. This, once again, I can't call every note. I can only the ones my nose picked up naturally is what I'm going to speak on. Around the 12 o'clock mark is where some of the freshness and the little spiciness, the oriental spices, kind of died down, and the sandalwood came up because it became really creamy. Once again, it still had like a tad bit peppery spices in it, but that sandalwood just really came up from nowhere. It was like creamy as all. And then as the sandalwood was arising and becoming more prominent, so was the sweetness from the tonka. I didn't think that was going to happen from a fragrance called Noir, but the tonka is not like an overly sweet, sugary. It's just enough to balance out from the dark, the freshness. I mean, it was fresh, but it's still a darker fragrance than the Royale. Then around the 3:30, 3:52 mark, so that's 4 or 5 hours into it, is where all of a sudden I start picking up really more on the frankincense note, the smokiness, but it still had the underlying sweetness from the tonka. I mean, just feeling this and smelling it evolve on my skin those 3 days of wearing it, it was a beautiful experience. For the fact, once again, it's not simple. I mean, it's simple. It's definitely easy to wear, but it's complex to wear. How many phases and transitions this will go through. Around, the 4:30 mark is where it's like, it seemed like the frankincense died down a little bit. Still had that little church smokiness, like church incense smokiness, but the tonka was definitely more pronounced at that point in time. And the tonka, once it comes up, that sweetness, that underlying creamy sweetness, it stays throughout the life of the fragrance. 5 o'clock mark, once again, I still had the smokiness, underlying sweetness. For some reason as well, I mean, the oudiness is, I know it's not really supposed to be a leather note with this, but it kind of came off, a little manly-ish at that point in time. And I mean, according to, the notes I was taking that day, it really didn't become a skin scent until about, it really didn't become a skin scent till about the 7:45, almost 8 o'clock hour. So that's 11 hours. So with these two, this one is fresher, but once again, it does give me an animalic leather type at the end, or, mid dried ounce, to the life of the fragrance. This one is dark, but it is creamy and a tad bit sweet. I mean, they both, have the Zaharoff DNA, but this one goes to the left, this one goes to the right. And the funny thing is, once I layer both of them on top of it, it resembles the signature pour on, but they still don't add up to the signature pour on. That's the funny part. So it's like, I feel like who's the performer, Claude Zier, whatever. He did a great job with both of these. Um, Longevity on this one was more so 10 to 12 hours, where this one was, 8 to 10. But the projection is a little bit louder on the Royale than it is the Noir. So, I mean, Noir, they're both good. I mean, just to me, just with my taste, once again, if I gave this a 9 out of 10, this gets an 8.75 out of 10 to me. I mean, the freshness or that citrus opening in this fragrance got me. I mean, it pulled me over that way. These are both great though. Some people may like Noir more. Some people may like the Royale more. I like the Royale more. But these both will get a lot of wear. Like with this one is just like, to me, in the same situation that I'm going to rock Zaharoff. I'm going to rock this during the day, suited and booted, smart casual, even formal occasions. Where this one, I don't want to say t-shirt because I would never wear this with a t-shirt. To me, that's disrespecting the fragrance. But you can wear it at night. I mean, you can go out pretty much on a professional date. I mean, if you were meeting up some work colleagues after work, keep your suit jacket on but take off the tie, this is going to work. I mean, both of these is beautiful, but in the battle of Goku versus Jiren, I gotta pick Goku. I mean, you have to try these both out. I mean, I can't say no more good about it. Once again, this is not, I bought one of the bottles. I was, sent the other one for free. That is not going to change out my opinion about this. The Royale to me is a tad bit better because it's fresher at the top. And I like the animalic nuances of the suede and the oud mixed together. This one, if you want something smooth, debonair, once again, the creamy sandalwood with the sweet tonka bean, you might want to go with this one. But you can't lose getting either one, or be like me and just have both of them, because they're both going to get weird. And for me to only wear it 3 times, you already see. They have dents in them. And I'm going to continue to wear them even after this review, for the fact I love I love the trilogy of this line. I mean, all 3 is bangers. I mean, straight bangers. So I don't want to, make this long and drawn out. It's already been long enough. But Signature Royale, Signature Noir, this just barely beat. I mean, this is like, it was like a 3 judges decision if this was boxing. I mean, they both knockouts to me. They do not overtake the original, but they're close. They're definitely close. They're giving the original a run for their money, but overall, the original is still, number 1 at 9.25. I give this a 9.0, and this is like 8.75 up to an 8.99, because I just think the fresh opening citrus and the iris that's not mentioned just gives it a tad bit of edge over it. So, be it as it may, take what you want out this review. I didn't want to watch anybody else's review until I dropped mine. I did not want my opinion to be tainted in any sort of way. So now I can go and watch other people's reviews of this. But I mean, if you have both of these, tell me how you feel in the comments. Put a like on this video and subscribe so your friends don't think you're a hater.